everyone, and this is my review for WWE NXT on March the 15th, 2017. And, you know, the build towards Takeover, it's really, I guess it's really coming into fruition now. As a matter of fact, they had a lot of pretty good stuff leading into the NXT Takeover Orlando involved in this particular show. Also, a really good main event to go along with everything. So they started off the show with the Ely brothers, who had challenged the Authors of Pain last week after the beatdown that they gotten before their tag team match with the Revival. This match was pretty much a squash match. I do like the fact that the Ely brothers do go out there and they're intense right off the bat. They want to try to beat the Authors of Pain down. But the Authors of Pain ended out looking even stronger on the aspect that they basically took two giant dudes and beat the crap out of them in the end. It was a little bit sloppy, and then you could definitely tell there were some edits to make certain things not look so bad inside of the match, but there definitely seemed to be a little bit of sloppiness in here. But the Authors of Pain go over, and it was a relative squash match. After the match, the Paul Ellering cuts a promo on the Revival talking about how they're going to be the next one, how they're going to be next. They're going to take them out, and you know, basically saying is like. Also going through Ellering's past and talking about how he had managed other tag teams that were in the aspects of being great, and that the Authors of Pain are the actual next great tag team. This does bring out DIY as well. And DIY start writing down saying is like, you know, we want another tag title shot because we feel like you guys got saved by the Revival in that last match, which kind of is the case. The Revival come out. I like the aspect that the Revival comes out there and their first words is like, we don't care what you did in the past. We are the greatest tag team now type feel and everything. And I ended up liking what this was, and this was pretty much setting up the triple threat match, and you could tell the triple threat match was coming. So William Regal comes out and he does make the triple threat match, but here's what I like: he made it an elimination match. It's not going to be one of those triple threats where it's one fall and the one team doesn't get pinned and but still has a chance at losing the match or something in that sense. So I like the aspect that it's going to be an elimination style match, and I feel like that one's going to be a really good tag team title match for NXT TakeOver. Matter of fact, that is probably that weekend going to be the most sought after tag team match from, or at least in the terms of the tag team titles for that entire weekend, because the Raw titles, that match could be good, but the SmackDown tag team titles have like nothing really behind it in any way, shape, or form. Up next, they had a good promo package for Asuka and Ember Moon. You had Asuka basically in like this resort, or what would be her home or something in that sense, going through everything that Asuka's done over pretty much the last year, and how she's dominated the division and everything in that sense. The thing about this one is that Asuka's always come off as confident, but in this particular one, she comes off as almost overconfident to the challenge of Ember Moon and everything in that sense. They even play off more again from last week, trying to show how devastating, or trying to sell how devastating the Eclipse finisher is a little bit later on. But in this promo, like I said, she basically talks about Ember Moon like she's nothing to her. No one's ever ready for Asuka. Like, she comes off as like more overconfident than she ever has, so it almost leads you to believe that it's like maybe Ember Moon goes over in this particular match or something in that sense. But we'll see how they play off of everything here in the very near future, and how they end up coming off going into the NXT TakeOver match. But I like this promo from Asuka, and there was some stuff from Ember Moon in there as well. So there was there was some good stuff here, and I liked what they showed. And they definitely made it feel like Asuka was coming off as like an overconfident champion going into this particular match. So we'll see how that everything ends up playing off. I feel like that match is going to be a damn good match at NXT Takeover with Ember Moon and Asuka. Up next, you had Nikki Cross going up against a newcomer. I did not get the last name on this one, but her first name was Macy, I believe. Yes, Macy. This entire match was pretty much a squash match. Macy doesn't really get any offense in, and then gets hit with like 5 spinning neck breakers, or like fisherman buster neck breaker type, spinning fisherman buster neck breaker type moves for Nikki Cross to pick up the victory. This was pretty much a squash match, setting up Ty Dillinger and No Way Jose to eventually come out after the match and start attacking Sanity, which of course the numbers game end out taking the advantage of it over No Way Jose and Ty Dillinger because Roderick Strong wasn't out there. I like the aspect that Eric Young, every time he does something to like No Way Jose or Roderick Strong, he's like, "This is on your hands, Dillinger," and it's like trying to place all the blame on Dillinger for bringing his buddies into this entire thing, and they make him watch as he does that wheelbarrow neck breaker move. Not the biggest fan of that finisher. It looks good, don't get me wrong, it just takes a lot of setup to get done. But yeah, overall, pretty good stuff after the match. Like I said, the match itself was pretty much just a squash, and nothing much to it. You had more promos for, and I figured this out after doing a little bit of research from last week's promos, that it was, sorry, that it was promos for Tommy End, aka I think they're going to be calling him Aleister Black now, in NXT. So basically more like creepy style promos, and this whole fade to black thing is kind of interesting to see where they're going to go with this once he shows up on NXT and everything in that sense. And I did get to see Tommy End in a match with Neville on the UK tournament, so I remember that match actually being pretty good over there. So it should be interesting to see how this character plays out when he comes onto NXT, which I would assume would be after the Takeover event, or if he might show up at the Takeover event. Who knows how they're going to play that one off. You had a a performance center segment where they were going through training and everything. They were hyping up the whole devastating aspect of the Eclipse finisher, and they were going to go get a medical update on Billie Kay and everything in that sense, but it gets interrupted. You see in the background, you see Ho Ho Lun, and he gets just shoved into a locker by Andreas Cien Almas, and they start bickering around. It's like, okay, they're going to be setting up another match with them. No, Oni Lorca gets in the way and basically ends up challenging Andreas Cien Almas. You get a backstage promo from Oni Lorca basically saying, it's like, that wasn't really an accident or anything. That was just him being a bully. I don't like it. Whatever. I want to fight him, and I'd like to see him try that to me. I kind of like that aspect of Oni Lorca. He's just kind of basic. I like the fight, and that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing on that one. It doesn't necessarily say you're going to go far or anything in that sense, but it came off rather well, and the promo was decent enough. And it sets up for a match next week with Andrade Cien Almas and Oni Lorcan. So that should be an interesting match to watch, because what we've seen from Oni Lorcan in the ring has been pretty good, and I would assume they're going to give them at least a decent chunk of time. So this brings us to the main event of the night, which was Cassius Ohno going up against Bobby Roode for the NXT title. And I like the aspect that they promote the entire thing like there's not necessarily going to be an immediate rematch for Bobby Roode afterward, like right after this match if he loses, because the winner of this match ends, like, it's an immediate thing that they are going to face Shinsuke Nakamura at the NXT Takeover. And this match was really good. I liked this match. I have not gotten to see a lot of Chris Hero matches. He is deceptively agile for how tall he is. In every sense of the word. He was able to perform a lot of different spots and sell really well for Bobby Roode. And I thought Cassius Ohno looked really good in this particular match. I didn't get to see too much of his stuff in the early days of NXT because I didn't... Like, when I started watching NXT, which was late 2013 or mid 2013, when it was back only on Hulu where I could watch it, he was kind of on his way out. He was on his way out, and other things were going about on that one. So, like, I didn't get to see a lot of the stuff from, like, Seth Rollins or Dean Ambrose or Roman Reigns, any of that stuff back then, because when I was watching NXT, like, Big E was the champion, leading into Bo Dallas having the championship, and Sami Zayn was just coming in over there. And Cesaro was down there helping out a lot of the talent to go along with it as well. But this match with both of them was really good. I actually do like the finish, and I like how they put over Bobby Roode in the terms of having a clean victory, but coming up with opportunistic ways to potentially get his finisher off. Like in this one, it was like, okay, it looks like we're going to get a typical roll-up. Bobby Roode ducks the rope and slams Cassius Ohno's throat into the top rope, which allows him to get the glorious DDT to get the victory. But just a lot of the other spots that you saw in this match, and storytelling as well. Like, just, I thought there was good storytelling in here in the terms of how much Cassius Ohno wanted to win the match, and how close he was in certain cases of winning as well. That just came off really well done, and I was thoroughly I won't say surprised, because I've seen some matches from Chris Hero between both times, but not too many of them. But just the amount of time they gave the match, and how good both of them ended out looking in the end, came off really well. It ends with Shinsuke Nakamura standing in that awkward position. I'm looking like I'm sideways, looking at a TV, but I'm also facing the camera. Kind of like this. It's like I'm kind of facing the camera so you can see my face, but I'm also looking at the TV at the same time. I don't really like that one. It just looks so weird. It looks so weird in that sense. But, of course, they had to have Shinsuke at least looking on in some way, shape, or form to go along with it. So, overall, this week's NXT was not bad. It was not bad. They did a lot of setup going into NXT TakeOver, and it came off rather well. I'm still not sold on the whole UCF crowd, because they seem to be a little bit more dead than your typical NXT crowd is at Full Sail, and it just doesn't necessarily come off as important in some cases with everything. They get don't get me wrong, they get over for certain, or they get loud for certain ones, but you feel like the crowd's more into it at the Full Sail arena than they were there with everything. But overall, I kind of liked the show this week. I thought it came off rather well. It was a rather easy watch. It was like, wait a minute, they're already at the main event? And don't get me wrong, I know it's only an hour show, but still, like, an hour can drag sometimes with if the show ends up being bad. And this one was not bad by any stretch of the imagination. So with that being said, that is my review this week for WWE NXT. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day.